Namaste. In this session, we are going to look at standard scalar. Now, standard scalar is useful when the feature that we are looking at follows a normal like distribution, and it is not so much useful, although you can apply standard scalar there as well, but it is not so much useful when the distribution of that feature is not a Gaussian like or a bell curve basically. So what will standard scalar do? Standard scalar will scale the features, each individual feature, to have zero mean and a standard deviation of 1. Now one thing to note is that it does not perform very well on features that have outliers. We'll see that in a moment why it is that so. And also it does not change the shape of the distribution of that particular feature. It will simply just transform the mean of that feature to be 0 and the standard deviation to be 1. So it will just basically shift that distribution from one place on the graph to the other place. So we'll see what it is exactly doing when we see a graphical representation of this. Now, how does standard scalar work? For each feature x, for example, if we have this column with ages ranging from 5 until 49, and we have to scale them using standard scalar. So how will standard scalar work? It will basically calculate the mean of this particular feature, which will be stored in xm. Then it will calculate the standard deviation, which will be stored in xs, so which are 18.71 and 13.46 respectively. And then for each particular observation in that particular feature, it will use that value, that is 5 minus the mean, which is 18.71 divided by 13.46. So we'll get minus 1.01. Then for the second one, similarly, we'll get 10 minus 18.71 by 13.46. Now if we calculate the mean of these scaled values, they will be 0. That is because we are basically dividing the mean from each particular variable observation, and hence the mean has been shifted to 0. Now if we also calculate the standard deviation of this scaled values, it will be 1 because we are dividing it by standard deviation each value, and hence the standard deviation of the entire column will be 1. Okay, so now just look at these two graphs. This is taken from a wine dataset which had different types of wines and the amount of alcohol and proline in their content, okay, in the preparation. So now you see this blue line, this is just going from 0 until 14 or 15, and this orange, this proline line, is going from 0 until 2000. So both of them are on different scales, and hence it is very imperative to scale them to be on similar scales. So after applying standard scalar, you see how much difference this has made. Now alcohol was on 0 to 14 15 range. Now it is this alcohol, this blue colored, is in -3 to 3 range, and this proline, which was before from 0 until 2000, now it is from -3 until +3 +4. So now see, they both are on similar scales. Now we will see in the Jupyter notebook how to use standard scalar. First off, we'll load in the dataset, which is the California housing dataset that we'll be using from the sklearn datasets module. So I'll say from sklearn.datasets import fetch California housing. This is the class that I'll be using. Now I'll simply do a tuple unpacking. I'll say fetch, I'll call an object of this, and I'll say first as frame is equal to true because I want this x to be a data frame. We'll see what it is actually in a moment. And then I'll also say return xy is equal to true because I want sklearn to give me to segregate the data into x and y, into features and target variable, and return me in that sense. Now if I check what is my x, so now you see it is in the data frame structure now, that I have a median income, house age, the average number of rooms, bedrooms, population, average occupancy, and the latitude and longitude of each particular block in California as measured during the 1990 US census. Okay, so this is a real life data set. So each of these 0 1 2 3 4, so if I check x dot shape, it has 20,640. So there were in total 20,640 small blocks in California, and the census department used these blocks to calculate metrics on each of those blocks. Okay, so if I do x dot head, so these are the values we have. Now what is my y, my target value? This is my, if I check below, it tells me that it is a median house value in each particular block. Okay, for the first block these were the attributes and this was the median house value in that block. So this is my y, and now I'll first check out the descriptive statistics of this data set. So I'll do simply x dot describe. Now it tells me that for median income, for example, the mean was 3.87, the minimum was 0.49, maximum was 15. So you see the range is pretty small here. But if I check out for the population column, it tells me the minimum was 3, the minimum population in a block was 3, and the maximum was 35,682. So both of these are in different scales now. You see, median income is such a small range and population is such a huge range. So we need to definitely scale this data set first. If we are using a linear based model, that is, because if we are using uh, a tree based model, then we wouldn't need to use standard scaler or any kind of scaler for that matter. So what I'll first do is I'll first split the data set into training and testing set. I'll first show you what I mean. Now I'll first show you what I meant when I said that standard scaler does not change the shape of the distribution. Now for that, I have made this small function which will plot two figures for each particular column side by side, and it will tell us before and after stories. So what I'll do is I'll say for each column in xtrain.columns, call the plots function, and for the data frame variable for argument, send in xtrain. Then for the variable argument, send in each column, and for the t is the transformer or the scalar. So I'll say standard scalar. Now if I check what is standard scalar, then it will tell me that standard scalar has two arguments with mean is equal to true and with standard deviation is equal to true. So both are true by default, which means that it will subtract with the mean each value, and it will also scale them with the standard deviation. So these are the default parameters. You can tweak them if you want. So now if I press Ctrl Enter, this will plot all for all the columns. It is plotting the graphs. You see, for median income, the range was 0 until 16, and now it is -2 to 6. So outliers still remain outliers here if you see here. So that is also something that we saw in the slides before. We saw here that it does not perform well on features that have outliers, and it does not change the shape of the distribution. This is exactly what we see here. The distribution is almost the same for this median income column, and for this house age also it looks pretty same. For similarly for average rooms also it looks the same, and for average bedrooms also same. Then population also the same distribution. But now you see, for the population, before it was 0 until 35,000, and now the range is from 0, almost 0 until only 30. So the range has shrunk. Then for average occupancy it is also, you see, the same distribution. So we are not changing the shape, we are just scaling them using the mean and standard deviation. So one reason why standard scaler doesn't perform well on outliers is that since it is using the mean and the standard deviation to achieve its purpose, if we have big outliers in the data, then for example, if after this 49, I have a value that is 120. If I have someone who is 120 years old, then you see, you realize how much our mean will be skewed, how much our mean will increase, and how much our standard deviation will increase, and all these values will be skewed. Hence, it doesn't perform well on outliers because it is dependent on the mean and standard deviation of each feature. Then one thing I forgot to do was that to remove latitude and longitude from our training and testing data. That is because it is not so much useful for machine learning purposes. It is useful for description or for data analysis, but not so much for machine learning. So what I'll do here is I'll simply say give x dot iloc, and I'll tell give me all the columns, all the rows, and for columns I need all the columns until the -2 column. So see, now I'm getting from median income until average occupancy. So these two have been filtered out. So I'll make this as my new x. Now y is same, x dot describe is also same. Now I'm trying splitting again. Now if I plot this again, these won't have my latitude and longitude. Great. So this was the plotting of standard scalar. Now we will test the accuracy of our model on both tree based models and linear based models using standard scalar. Okay. So basically what we'll do is we'll create two models per algorithm. That is, for a tree based algorithm, we will first check what happens when we scale the data and we do not scale the data. And for a linear based model as well, we'll first check our accuracy on scaled data and then on unscaled data. So I prepared this very small two functions here. See, it is very simple. Don't get bogged down by this. The first one says that define model accuracy for the scaled data. So what I'll do is this MOD, I'll pass in this argument MOD for my tree based model and for my linear based model. And because this is scaled, I'll first standardize our data and then pass that standardized data to our model for fitting, and then I'll fit the data on xtrain and ytrain, and I'll then ask Python to return me the score for the xtest and ytest. So now basically what this pipeline is doing is, if you are unfamiliar, when I say model underscore scale dot score, what it will do is it will first run through all these steps in this pipeline model underscore scaled, and then it will calculate the score and return me the accuracy of this model. Similarly for the unscaled, this is the same pipeline, similar pipeline, just that I don't have the standard scalar step here. Okay, it is simply just going to take the xtrain ytrain and simply fit the model. So first I'll say model accuracy scaled. I'll do it from the scaled data first. Now for the model, I'll first pass in a linear based model. So for linear based, I have chosen k nearest neighbors, because k neighbors regressor is based upon Euclidean distances, and it will perfectly demonstrate what effect scaling has on such algorithms. So I'll say k neighbors regressor, and I'll do it for the default parameters first, so I won't pass in any n neighbors argument. So when I check, my accuracy is 58.92%, which is not good, but our main concern here is not to achieve the best accuracy. It is just to demonstrate the effect of scaling. And now I'll just do this for the unscaled data. So when I didn't scale my data and simply fit my xtrain and ytrain on the normal model, then it gave me an accuracy of only 17.1%, whereas scaled gave me around 59% accuracy. Now we'll perform this same scaling and unscaling of a regressor on a tree based model to check whether we have any accuracy difference or not. So what I'll do is I'll say model accuracy scaled, and here I'll be using a random forest regressor, and I'll set random state to be equal to 0 to get the same results. Okay, and now when I do a similar thing with unscaled data, it is giving me an accuracy of the same 67.87%. It is quite similar. So you see, scaling or not scaling doesn't have any effect on tree based models, and it has a huge difference on models which use distances as a part of their algorithmic calculations. So this was all about standard scalar, and I hope now you have a clearer picture on what is standard scalar and where to use it and when not to use it. So thank you for watching.